If you were watching the program last night, you would have seen the remarkable composure under intense pressure of Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister, Sharon Haskell. Here she is, live to air. She was talking to us when the alarm went off and they had to go and find a bomb shelter near where they were doing this interview and shelter for a while. So I just wanted to update you. They were in that bomb shelter for about 30 minutes because there were two incoming missiles on that occasion and they were both intercepted. So neither of those missiles did any damage or caused any casualties in Israel. But as you know, today there have been Israels from Iran hitting in Israel, in Beersheba, south of Jerusalem, just before the ceasefire officially kicked in. At least 4 people have been killed, and there's some more disturbing news out of Israel as we speak. I want to go to Gerald Steinberg. We've caught up with him plenty of times. He's the Professor of Politics at Bar-Ilan University. Good to talk to you again, Gerald. We're here to talk about good news, but as we speak, I believe there are more missile alerts, particularly in the north of Israel, been occurring over just the past 5 or 6 minutes. Tell us if you know anything about that, but there must be a lot of tension about whether this ceasefire can hold.
Chris, I'm in Jerusalem, and I'm looking at exactly the same image that you are, the same reports from the IDF. There are at least 1 and maybe 2 confirmed missile strikes at the north of Israel. There might be a couple of people in Iran who decided on their own, members of the Republican Guard or the Iranian military who decided to launch this. Their communication system is definitely not intact. So we're going to probably wait and see what happens. I don't think those 2 missiles did any damage. But if this continues, of course, then the ceasefire is off and we're back to war. I think President Trump was very clear that if Iran violates the ceasefire, the U.S. is going to get involved if necessary. So I think we have to wait and see. I think the general view, the general mood in Israel now is, okay, we won this war. This is a big victory. Iran is devastated. The regime may not survive. So we're going to give it a chance to see if we can get a few days without having to go into shelters.
Well, that's a good point you make because their military apparatus has been so damaged so poorly. Perhaps there are parts of the Iranian army firing missiles who don't even know there's a ceasefire in place yet. I gather from the Israeli Defence Force tweets that they know exactly where the missiles are coming from, that these are from Iran. They're not a couple of loose Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon letting fire.
Yeah, I saw the same reports, and I think that makes sense. I think the Israeli military is still very much keeping an eye on everything that happens out of Iran, as they also out of Lebanon, and watching Hezbollah very carefully, ready to strike if necessary. So I think we're going to wait and see what happens with this particular launch. But overall, we spent about 2 hours this morning from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. in shelters. I saw some of the missiles fly over. One of them, as you see in your image here, the picture of Beersheba, where a very devastating missile hit in a residential area. You see, these are war crimes. And we hear a lot of these politicians in Europe and elsewhere talking about how they have to bring Israel to account. We've heard that for 2 years, all these other allegations. But these are very blatant war crimes. The Iranians shot at civilians. They killed 4 people we know were killed in this particular strike. You can see the devastation of just 1 Iranian missile hit.
Just briefly,
so
Gerald.
Everybody's going to watch this.
Sorry, just briefly, because we're almost out of time. How historic is the opportunity here, though, if the ceasefire can hold?
We're looking at a different Middle East completely. Since 1979, so that's 46 years, we've seen the Iranian militia, the Iranian regime, the Ayatollahs, the fanatic Islamic regime, building up its forces and chanting and really acting on death to Israel, destroy the United States. We've seen that, and now that's gone. They may have a few missiles left. They don't have any more nuclear facilities they can activate. It's not clear the regime's going to survive. We're looking at a very different Middle East, and perhaps also the rest of the world, including the Australian government and others who've been so much on the other side in terms of their rhetoric, their slogans, very much focusing on attacking Israel, can realize this is an opportunity to really bring about a very different world and a much more successful world where economic development will replace billions that were spent on trying to get nuclear weapons and over 5,000 missiles.
Thanks so much for joining us again, Gerald. Stay safe. Gerald Steinberg there, Professor of Politics at Bar-Ilan University, joining us again live from Jerusalem.